Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. Even though COVID-19 still affects our day-to-day life, there are still concerts to attend, markets to shop at, and movies to see. It's a very busy fall season, and these next few episodes of WWHEN are going to be bursting with information. First, time for this week's trivia question, which will be answered at the end of the show. This week's question is, which famous farmers market in Cheshire is celebrating its 80th anniversary this year? Now, for this week's local entertainment headlines. The Berkshires Academy for Advanced Musical Studies, a school for high-achieving musical talents, was supposed to open this year in Adams, but was unable to due to the COVID-19 situation. However, it has already announced an expansion. First, though, a brief history of how the music school came to be. In December 2019, local business owner Donald Summer announced his plans to renovate the former St. Mark's Episcopal Church on Commercial Street in Adams into a music academy for high school students. He partnered with Richard Bulger, a New York City-based trumpet player, to bring in a world-class lineup of music teachers. Obviously, plans for the 2020 summer class sessions fell through, but Summer isn't losing hope that easily. In late August, he announced that he purchased the First Baptist Church on Main Street in Adams, and would be converting that into another location on the Music Academy's campus. Summer said that, quote, "The campus is growing, and we are just very excited to help a new generation of kids discover the possibilities of themselves with the power of music," end quote. The academy is in a great location, in an underdeveloped small town between two popular tourism spots, Pittsfield and North Adams. So maybe the addition of a music school will increase tourism in Adams. The same day that Summer announced his plans for the expansion, state representatives John Barrett and Adam Hines were in attendance, touring the facilities that would contain the new branch of the Music Academy. They had nothing but positive things to say about the Music Academy and how it will impact the city of Adams in a positive manner. Barrett said, quote, "This is rebuilding a community with your past and using this beautiful building. This is a further example of how you can use ingenuity coming from your own community. This was born here," end quote. Hines agreed and also discussed what the Music Academy would do for the town, adding, quote, "There are so many upsides to what is happening here. It creates another center of gravity for music, art, and culture in North County. It brings the visitors to Adams, and this investment revitalizes an old building," end quote. Summer is not sure when the Berkshires Academy for Advanced Musical Studies will be officially open for business, but he does hope 2021 will be the start date. Stay tuned to WWHEN for more updates. The Berkshire Theater Group will be hosting a series of fall concerts every weekend in October called Bobbie's Fall Series. These will be performed outside at the tent at the Unicorn Theater on 6 East Street in Stockbridge. The acts will range from jazz bands to classical musicians. BTG has only announced the first few shows in October. WWHEN is determined to keep viewers up to date on the performers when they are announced. Here's the current list. On Saturday, October 3rd, folk artist, poet, and producer Bernice Lewis will be performing songs from her half-dozen albums. Then, on October 4th, Western Massachusetts-based jazz band DB Trio consisting of Daniel Broad, David Bartley, and Jeff McRae, will take the stage. Finally, on Saturday, October 10th, another trio will be performing. Classical violinists Bing Liu, Eileen Markland, and Jay Schulman will be playing select pieces from artists ranging from Handel to Beethoven. These shows are a great transition into fall and are fun for music lovers everywhere, regardless of age. Tickets for all of the Bobbie's Fall Series concerts cost $25 for adults and $15 for children ages 16 and under. In addition, there will be a 50% discount for all frontline workers. Food will be provided by KJ Nosh Catering Company, who will be masked and staying 6 feet apart from the audience. Patrons should bring low back chairs and or blankets to best enjoy this performance, and must sit in designated areas that the Unicorn Theater will provide. Visit Berkshire Theater Group for more information and to purchase tickets. Please note that the Berkshire Theater Group's website is the only location to buy tickets for any events at the BTG. Mass Mocha has begun a Free on the Fives event. Every 5th day of the month, Mass Mocha will be free, only for residents of the 01247 area code. This includes residents of North Adams, Florida, and Clarksburg. Residents outside of these areas will have to pay the regular price that day. $20 for adults, $18 for seniors and veterans, $12 to college students with IDs, and free for kids between 6 and 16. The next Free on the Fives event will take place on Monday, October 5th, and will run all day. Once at the Mass Mocha, 01247 residents can see all of the exhibits currently on display for free. These include Lindell Moe's When, Blaine de Sacra's How to Move a Landscape, Kissing Through a Curtain, Sean Leonardo's The Breath of Empty Space, Ad Minilotti's Fantastis Modulares, and Sol Lewitt's A Wall Drawing Perspective, among others. Those in the 01247 area code must buy their tickets online by going to the website shown here and reserving 2-hour time slots. Also, upon visiting the museum, patrons must bring either an official ID or a utility bill for proof of residency in the 01247 area. On last week's episode of WWATN, I discussed the history of the Appalachian Trail and how it is doing during this pandemic. On September 16th, the Mass Grants Program awarded the trail, along with 10 other nature spots in Berkshire County, a combined $421,100 for trail projects. These included hiking, mountain biking, and fishing trails. Here is the full list of who received what. The Savoy Canary Cat Snowmobile program received 2 separate grants. One worth $46,000 to help pay for a new utility vehicle and its upkeep, and another worth nearly $52,000 towards the hardening of trails. The Florida Mountaineers received a $67,000 grant to pay for repairs and upkeep of large track machines used to groom snow. Berkshire Snow Seekers received a grant worth approximately $42,000 for grooming machines. The Washington Mountain Marsh Trail received a $50,000 grant to rebuild part of the trail, and the Old Mill Trail in Dalton and Hinsdale received a grant worth approximately $37,000 for rebuilding purposes. The October State Mountain Forest in Lee received a $34,350 grant for maintenance and emergency rescue, while the Williamstown Rural Lands Foundation used its $33,000 grant for the realignment of the Berlin Pass Trail. The Western Massachusetts Climbers Coalition received the $25,000 grant for Hanging Mountain Public Access in Sandsfield for the development of a public rock climbing area and trails. Green Acres Berkshires will be using its $21,410 grant for construction of an interpretive hiking trail near the Bidwell House Museum in Monterey. Finally, the Massachusetts Appalachian Trail Ridge Runner program received the $13,000 grant, which it will use to hire a seasonal worker and maintain its trail. As I have stated before, Beacon Cinemas has struggled to reopen during this pandemic. The Beacon is owned by Phoenix Theaters, which owns multiple movie complexes in the country. While the one in Pittsfield remains closed, the opening of the Dubuque, Iowa theater should give a preview of what moviegoers can expect when the Pittsfield theater eventually reopens. According to a news report from KCRG Iowa that was posted on the Beacon Cinema's Facebook page, the theater will have foot traffic signs placed throughout the theater. Face masks or coverings will be mandatory, and there will be hand sanitizer stations located throughout the facility. There will also be contactless payment, and the theater will be cleaned twice every day. The biggest issue the Dubuque theaters are facing is what movies to play. 2020 wiped the new movie slate clean, except for films previously discussed on WWHEN, such as Unhinged, Tenet, and The New Mutants. Additionally, the theater wants to bring in classic films as well, though it hasn't clarified which ones it will play. Stay tuned to WWHEN to see how the COVID-19 situation will affect the reopening of the Pittsfield Beacon Cinemas. In other movie news, there were two new movies that debuted on September 17th. They had different release platforms. One was released to Regal Cinemas, while the other went straight on demand. The Regal Cinema debut this week is Infidel. This is a contemporary political thriller set in the Middle East and filled with suspense. In it, an American journalist slash blogger is kidnapped in Iran, and his wife must travel to the country to free him. This movie provides both thrills and drama, as it is based on a true story. Infidel stars Jim Caviezel, Stelio Savante, Claudia Karvan, and Halozan, and is directed by Cyrus Naratz. The other film that opened, which took the on-demand route, was Antebellum. Lionsgate, who produced the film, said that this was a movie that the American public needed to see now, and that putting it on demand would be a great way to start a conversation. In Antebellum, successful author Veronica Henley finds herself trapped in a horrifying reality and must solve the mind-bending mystery to escape. The movie bounces back and forth between the past and present and deals with issues of racism, sexism, and classism, all while maintaining a horror movie edge. Antebellum stars Janelle Monáe, Eric Lanz, Jenna Malone, and Gabri Sibdi, and is directed by Gerard Bush and Christopher Renz. It will cost $20 until it will be reduced to a regular on-demand price sometime in October or November. It's now time for Wehry Weekly History, which also has the answer to this week's trivia question. As a reminder, this week's question was, which farmers market in Cheshire is celebrating its 80th anniversary this year? The answer is Whitney's Farmers Market and Garden Center, located at 175 South Street in Cheshire. The greenhouse and farmers market are both open for shopping, but the petting zoo and play yard will be closed until further notice. Food orders can either be picked up at the store or by calling 413-442-4749. To place an order for the greenhouse, add extension 3, and for the farmer's market, add extension 1. You can also email the order to the Whitney's Farmers Market website at whitneyscurbside@gmail.com. Whitney's Farmers Market and Garden Center began in 1940. It was founded by Charles Whitney, who at the time operated a dairy farm at the location. When he passed, his son Peter continued to run the dairy farm, but he also grew sweet corn and other crops, which he sold from an old truck on the side of Route 8. The truck is still there today, and it is where the Whitney farm sells many different crops, and it remains one of the most popular places in the Berkshires to purchase food. The Whitney's farm is a family-run location. Several generations of the Whitneys have worked at the farm, and some of the younger Whitneys work there today on a part-time basis. The farm sells everything from fresh produce to homemade goods, and even farming equipment, ranging from mulch and stone to offering design and landscape consulting. Currently, the farm is having their annual Pumpkin Fest, which is popular for all families. Due to COVID-19, many of the usual events that surround Pumpkin Fest have been delayed or canceled altogether. This includes the Playfest for kids that I discussed earlier. There is a large list of rules and regulations on its website, including the new admissions process, rules on entering the popular haunted corn maze, and how they are still hosting birthday parties. Visit the website shown here for a full list of rules and regulations. That ends this week's episode of Wehry Weekly History and Entertainment News. You can watch this week's episode on channel 1301 of PCTV, CTSB TV, and NBC-TC. Airtimes on all three of these networks vary. Visit the websites shown here for more information.